We have marketing strategy that has multiple channels. I have an audience of about 56, I believe, thousand followers on LinkedIn. I am posting twice a day. So there is a lot of content out there to shape the market to what we are doing, to the CP way. Now, on top of it, so that is by itself going to generate inbound. People coming to us with requests to inquire just, how can you help me? That would be one. On the second end, we also have an outbound strategy, which is us reaching out proactively using automation, using LinkedIn Recruiter, using multiple tools, reaching out to very targeted individuals and offering them, because they're at the right level and they have the right type of experience, complementary career strategy sessions. Some of those sessions will convert into those individuals becoming clients because they will realize that getting our help is what's going to help them the most.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Pedro, and today's guest is Dr. Jeremy Gartner, the founder of Career Propulsion, a coach and strategist who helps ambitious executives land VP and C-suite roles faster, often securing 200 to the range of 1 million plus compensation packages using a data-driven, proven approach. With a background as a particle physicist, a PhD in aerospace engineering, while developing military aircraft and executive leadership experience, he knows firsthand how to position yourself for high-profile roles, even when you seem underqualified on paper. Through Career Propulsion, they guide executives in mastering career storytelling, trust building, and navigating hidden job markets. Their framework delivers an 88% success rate in landing top roles, helping clients achieve significant salary increases while confidently negotiating and stepping into leadership positions. Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Pedro.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're here. First of all, I love the name Career Propulsion, and you have a physicist background. I get it, okay? I'm a dad, so I get the dad joke, and I get the positioning. I love it. Okay, and before we get into what you do now, Jeremy, I'm curious how this all actually started, right? So what was going on in your life when coaching became more than just an idea?
6 years ago, it was the beginning of COVID. I was about to start my executive MBA at Wharton, and I started doing a few experiments to see where is it that I can help with people really struggling with, people losing their job, and lots of stuff were happening during that time. One of my experiments were to help people with their resume for $5. So I just created a post on LinkedIn, no expectations whatsoever, because my gift was always to be able to jump across whatever opportunity I wanted, irrelevant to the industry, to the function. I was always able to get where I wanted to go, even though I was consistently maybe one of the worst candidates. So I did one of those posts on LinkedIn. Whoever lost their job because of COVID and need help with their resume, I will help them for $5 that I will donate to whatever charity. And what I found through that experiment, first of all, right away, I got about 7 people. I think what attracted them was my mix of scientists, so PhD in aerospace, called physicists. So I really got that data side, but also my corporate experience and the Wharton MBA. So I knew how to speak multiple languages in a sense. So lots of executives came to me right away. And what I found is that they were playing a game in a way that I found to be very one-dimensional, meaning let's focus on the resume. When what I know works the best, it's not at all about the resume. It's about the people you are going to create relationships with. It's about the story you are going to create. So it's much broader than that. After that, I saw the gap that existed on the market between those people that needed the help and the help they really got from me. I started building frameworks around that, one step after the next 6 years down the line, we are where we are today. It's about 1,000 people. We got a team of about 10 coaches. We got very solid frameworks that help people getting consistently to those executive level jobs. So that was really the starting point. Not very expected, but such a fun journey to be able to help people taking control of their career.
Okay. I love that, the $5 resume, and you're donating that. So, and it sounds like you resonate with being one of the worst candidates and seeing that like as a one-dimensional thing, like just a resume. So you're expanding the horizon, the opportunity. So I that's very interesting. Now, I want to understand at what point it stopped feeling like a side thing or a calling, right? And it started feeling like an actual business. You know, that shift when you feeling like, oh, this can
Yeah.
actually be a thing, you know?
It took about 2 years. For a full 2 years, I did not see a path of that becoming a full business. For me, it was more of a side thing I was doing beside my job. So the first 2 full years, I had my corporate job. I was doing my executive MBA. I also had a third child. So a lot was happening, and I became the intellectual challenge of scaling that as a business was super interesting. I moved from $5 to $25. And someone told me, Jeremy, you could even charge $197. And I was, no way. And I tried and I got a first client. And then I was, okay, what do I do with all of that cash? I was, let's invest that into learning new skills. And I invested in learning sales and in learning marketing and learning video editing and all of those building blocks that helped me getting the foundation to build a real business up to the point where a year and a half down the line after starting, I already got some structure. And then there was that one day that my manager told me, Jeremy, if you do in the next 6 months X, Y, and Z, you will be promoted to the next level with the increase in income of about 50K. And I was, okay, so the game I'm playing here is that I will invest hundreds and hundreds of hours for maybe 50K increase, when in reality, if I were to invest that time into what I'm doing here, I could help another 50 people with that same amount of time, which is much more than 50K, first of all. But also it's so more fulfilling. And I had a good job. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I had a really good job, but it was so much more fulfilling getting people seeking for that guidance and me helping them building their story, their strategy, the networking aspects, how to get in front of the right people, how to speak to them, and getting them to what I call today the CP way. So the career propulsion way, meaning really taking control of your professional career. So after about 2 years, I was, okay, I think that corporate job is it's not helping as much as my business. So I just quitted and I moved full time on Career Propulsion. And that was one of maybe of the most difficult decisions I've ever made, that shift in identity, but also it was one of the most rewarding ones that I've ever made from a fulfillment standpoint, from a personal path standpoint, because now every morning I just wake up just excited about what I'm going to change, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to bring to the table, how I'm going to help people. And that's the path now.
Yeah, I mean, from being part of an engine, right, in the corporate world to actually seeing some raw outcomes, like the fulfillment in front of you and you being responsible for, I can only imagine the joy it is to watch someone getting from point A to B in your business, right? So yeah, I can understand where you're coming from with the fulfillment side. Now, 2 years in, a lot of trial and error, especially in pricing. You were like, oh, maybe $5, maybe 25. Oh, 197 worked. Okay. Now, once you were out there, what I'm trying to understand is, who did you naturally end up attracting, Jeremy? I mean, when did you realize, okay, these are the people I work best with? If you had to eventually go down that path, I'm not even sure if you had that.
Yeah. Up to $500, I was attracting lots of students and some executives. Past the $500, I started attracting less and less students and much more executives, where the value that I was creating was worth much more than the $500. And for me, that's the audience I became the most attracted to work with, both because brought a world of experience that I could learn from every time I was coaching one of those people, but also just the intellectual challenge of helping someone getting jobs that do not exist on paper. It's not about going after a job by optimizing your story. And no, you are going after people you want to work with. You are not going after opportunities that are advertised. And it's a complete shift in mindset. That's why today that's our bread and butter. There's VP level people, C level people. This is the audience who are working with the best.
So it's like, in a way, it's like you can ignite that untapped potential. Maybe they're not even aware that their origins or their skills they have, and then you can find a different type of market even, or a job they didn't even consider just by talking with you in your business. You can have that shift, and then they're like, oh, I can actually do that. And sometimes people, there is so much inside the eye of the hurricane, they don't see their own skills, right?
Well, that's the CP way, right? I'm going to get back to that multiple times. That's the CP way. The CP way is once you're an executive, one of the biggest difficulties is that you got so much skills, so many of those skills that you can do lots of different things in your life. And the problem becomes, where do I want to go next? Most people are going to drift, and most executives are just going to be reactive to opportunities coming their way. And what we do is something slightly different, just to say, first of all, let's build an amazing story as a leader when the skills that you got are just examples. Now, from there, let's look at your future as an investment portfolio where you could become a medtech leader, where you could become a fintech expert into something. And many other things. So in other words, it's a little bit like you being a product and learning how to launch yourself as an existing product into new markets. So there is a whole methodology around that I created, and people can assess what is the cost of entry to any of those new markets. For example, if you want to become a physician, I will tell you, okay, let's speak with a few physicians to see what it takes to become a physician and to get a job as one. We are going to learn that it's going to take about 10 years of studying, of med school and all of those things. And that's the cost of entry. Now, if you want to go to Meta as a VP of product, what is the gap? Well, the gap is to speak maybe with 20 people so that we're going to build a strategy, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But we can really get a tangible measurement of the cost of entry to any of those markets, so that it's not me telling you what you can and what you cannot do. We are helping you really by speaking with the market, understanding what is the cost of entry to any new type of career as an executive.
Interesting. Okay, so we're talking about C-suite level. We're talking about executives, right? Now, I want to understand the marketing aspect, because you mentioned you did some investing in yourself about marketing, right? So how do they usually find their way to you in the first place?
In the first place, we have a marketing strategy that has multiple channels. I have an audience of about 56, I believe, 1,000 followers on LinkedIn. I am posting twice a day. So there is a lot of content out there to shape the market to what we are doing, to the CP way. Now, on top of it, so that is by itself going to generate inbound. People coming to us with requests to inquire just, how can you help me? That would be one. On the second end, we also have an outbound strategy, which is us reaching out proactively, using automation, using LinkedIn Recruiter, using multiple tools, reaching out to very targeted individuals and offering them, because they're at the right level and they have the right type of experience, complementary career strategy sessions. Some of the sessions will convert into those individuals becoming clients, because they will realize that getting our help is what's going to help them the most. And other individuals will just get that session, that career strategy session, and they're going to get some type of blueprint on how to accelerate their career. So either way, they're going to leave with something. But that's kind of how I would split our marketing channels as of today.
Okay. Now, picture this. I saw your LinkedIn posts. I feel like they're awesome. I started contacting you. I looked at your website and I'm like, okay, I think I want to work with Jeremy, right? And Career Propulsion. Now, what does that actually look like from my perspective, like an onboarded client?
What does it look like to go through our program? Is that what you are asking?
Yeah, the structure of the services you provide.
Sure. The objective when you work with us is to help you building a machine so that you got the right positioning and you know how to do lead generation and lead conversion. It means that if you are a business owner, Pedro LLC in your case, okay, that is looking for a new job, we are going to help you shifting first the way you are thinking about the job market, that your goal is not to find a job, it's to find a client because you're offering services. It's just that you have a business model, which is to serve one client at a time with exclusivity.
Interesting.
So
It's like you're changing my mindset, like an owner of a skill that serves a client. Okay.
that's exactly what we are doing. But how does any business become successful? It's not by getting more tools. It's not by using a different CRM, by using a different sales page. No, it's by building assets. More exactly, strategy assets, marketing assets, sales assets. Those assets stay with you for the long term. And that's what needs to be tweaked to attract opportunities and to get a successful business. Or in other words, to attract unlimited opportunities. So practically the way it works is month one of the program, we build marketing assets. So we are going to build a story. The tools of those assets will be your LinkedIn page, your resume, but that's not why you are going to get a job because of our resume. Resume is just a flyer. If you make 200K, you are not going to get to get a new client by sending a flyer to people. You need to interact with people. But first of all, you need a story and you need a strategy. So within a month, you are what I call opportunity ready, meaning that if an executive recruiter will knock at your door, you are just going to be able to convert that opportunity much more than before because you will have an awesome story to share with them and you will be able to articulate why they should consider you. The second month of the program, that's the marketing assets. By the end of the second month, you end up in a place where you start getting 5 to 20 coffee chats with leaders in the industry you want to target every single week. We do for that automation. We are using LinkedIn. The name of the game is not to send resumes again. It's to be curious about people. It's to build relationships. And by the end of the third month, that's the sales assets. So not only how to convert those coffee chats into interviews, but also how to implement a feedback loop. So all of those coffee chats can be integrated back into the strategy to assess, do I want to continue with that strategy or do I want to shift to a slightly different market? So by the end of the third month, you start getting interviews consistently. And then it's just iterating on that loop. So before you start getting before starting to convert those interviews into opportunities.
That is so interesting. Okay. Wow. You got me into a rabbit hole here. I'm just thinking out loud, right? Like you kind of framed it so differently. Instead of a job, you kind of framed it as your own business owner and you just have exclusive services towards a company. So that makes perfect sense. Now I'm curious about one thing. Whenever you're reaching out for those virtual coffees or something like that, you mentioned chats, right?
Yeah.
I suppose, and this is like something that I'm curious about, it's like, how do you frame those, right? Is it like in a white paper idea, like, hey, I want to work in your industry. Sounds like you're pretty much of a leader on it. Would you be willing to give me some advice about the next steps? How would that look like? Or is this a different framing? I'm just thinking out loud how you would eventually do that.
Yes and no. Yes, that's high level the approach, but it has to be about them, not about you. Meaning same ask, different framing. For example, hey, I am Jeremy, CEO of Career Propulsion. I see that you are a VP of product at Meta today, and that before that, you were also a business owner of a company similar to mine. I would love to learn about your very specific experience transitioning from being a business owner back to corporate, because that is a move I might consider. I know I'm a stranger, but would you be willing to have a coffee chat of 15 to 20 minutes? And more than happy to reciprocate in any way I can if I can help in any way. So something like that.
Interesting.
If you structure that in a sequence like that with 3 messages, follow-ups, real sequence, you will get 10 to 20% acceptance rate for a coffee chat. Now, what's happening if you send that same message using a video? Meaning you just record yourself. Hey, I'm Jeremy, CEO of Career Propulsion. I see that you are today a VP of product at Meta, and right? And you press the send button on LinkedIn. Response rate 50 to 70%. The medium is the message most of the time. And yeah, you can be lazy and have an automated sequence. And we are using those sequences. But if there is someone that you really want to speak with, do something slightly unusual. I know it's not comfortable to send a video message. People are still not used to that. But guess what? 100 years ago, people were not comfortable to just leave a voice message on someone's phone.
Yeah.
When it was first invented. And I think it's much more recent than that. So technology is evolving. It's just about what works. And when you do that across tens of thousands of people like we are doing with all of our clients, you end up with lots of data. And you know what works. So basically, when people get that type of coaching, what they get, it's access to all of the shortcuts on how to get right away to the results of what works best.
Yeah, that seems like a great idea. And of course, eventually someone would say, oh, yeah, but that's very time consuming, which I get it. But you mentioned you need to target the high profile. That is worth it if you have like less volume, but the right people. So you could, yes, have like a sequence for like a main sequence and a separate one, like for the high profile. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
They're complementary.
It's a personal touch. Yes. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I was just naturally curious. I'm like, I've done that in the past also. So that's a great one. Now, looking forward a bit, Jeremy, what's the direction Career Propulsion is taking, right? You're aiming this business towards. Are you thinking more about growing, leverage, building a team, even better, right? You have 10 already coaches, or refining what already works. I mean, what feels most exciting?
So today we are a team of about 20 people, including the coaches, sales, marketing, operations, everyone. I want in the future, 5 years down the line, that the CP way is synonym to taking control of your career. Executives today keep drifting from one opportunity to the next, and they don't know how to access the next job. They still rely on job boards, which at the executive level does not work. They still rely on luck, meaning waiting for that executive recruiter to find you. They still rely on the limited network, which is limited. At some point, it's not going to be helpful anymore. And there is another way. There is the CP way, which is by being very proactive about it, you can really design your life, your career, decide where to go next, and take action about it so that you are not dependent on any stranger to dictate how your life is going to look like. So that's where we are going with Career Propulsion. I really want to become the market leader in that space of executive career coaching so that every single professional will know about the CP way.
Interesting. Exciting also. Now, even when things are going well, always something under construction. So what's the main thing you're actively working on or trying to improve in the business right now?
Sure. So when you look at a business, there are always 4 components to really build a business, right? You got lead generation, lead conversion, retention, ascension. Those are the only 4 moves that you can make to build a business. The lead generation, it took me 5 years to nail it, but we nailed it. Now we got a very high volume of people speaking with us every day. The lead conversion, that's the sales team. Now sales team is really consultative in nature. It's not a salesy sales team. That is extremely difficult to build, and that's where a lot of the energies are going on right now. Then retention and ascension have to do a lot with the delivery side. we have right now the Fast Track to VP 3.0 version of the program. It's really neat the way it's structured. It's a bunch of videos and digital learning on one side with a very detailed interactive workbook and one-on-one coaching sessions and group coaching sessions led by the team every single day of the week. So we are now working on a new version of the Fast Track to VP 4.0, which is going to include lots of custom GPTs, lots of automation so that people can really accelerate everything. We got access to tools today that did not exist before. So for me, as I build a business, right now it's a mix of building that Fast Track to VP 4.0. So to take what we have to the next level so that people can get even faster jobs. And that's something that I will always keep building in parallel in the background because there's no end to how much you can keep improving an approach to how to solve a problem. But the sales team, that is my biggest learning curve as we are growing because you need to convert all of those leads that come to you somehow. So that's where we are at from a business standpoint.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. The sales conversion is always tricky because you want to ask for the sale, but at the same time, you want to serve them because there's no lost sale, right? It's like you're serving them. So there's intention behind that. But also at the same time, you want to move forward with revenue. So it's a fine balance. I've worked on sales, for the past 3 years. So I understand where you're coming from. Okay. Now, this is like right now I want to do some advice time because I see you have such a unique background, right? And you've been around in the game long enough to see trends come and go, right? You just mentioned like new tech that is out there helping your own business. People give business advice nonstop, especially online, right? It's like if you're browsing through social media, it's like AI is dead, and the next post is AI is going to take over. Okay, so what's something you hear repeated a lot that you think people misunderstand, or maybe they overvalue as a business advice?
What do they overvalue as a business advice? Meaning, what advice do they get? Well, people get drowned today in there's so much content, so much advice out there that it's very easy to feel like you are making progress by reading all of that advice. In the end of the day, you move the world by leaving your couch and
taking action,
meaning that if, for example, you are going to read a book, read a chapter, try to identify what you can implement from what you just learned and take action on that before you move to the next chapter. Otherwise, it's lots and lots and lots of knowledge that is never applied and it becomes entertainment. So it gives you a feeling, false sense of progress when action beats knowledge every single time. That's how I see it, at least.
Oh, I love that, man. I really like that because I've been reading a book which is called Super Connector. Not sure if you ever read that. And he does have some actions in the end of the paragraphs. And I'm like, okay, I'll get to that later,
Exactly.
And then you told me that. I'm like, oh, I should have been doing stuff. Like, yeah, I should take notes and thank you for that. And that was really powerful. Thank you for that. Okay. And on the flip side, what's something boring or not as hype that you wish more people actually paid attention to, Jeremy?
Something boring?
Yeah. Like you said, taking action is the main drive, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like people sometimes they ended up landing flat because I'm just going to give you an example because they're not consistent. It's like I want to have a summer body, right? And I go to the gym and I hit that gym in a day and I'm like, I did everything and I missed the gym for the next 10 days, So inconsistent performance from me. So I'm thinking out loud, it's like, what's something you feel like people should take more seriously?
One skill a quarter. What I mean by that is people get the impression, the feeling they're making progress because they're reading a book. When we are designing our lives across such a long period of time that if you were to decide, I'm going to live my life like the seasons of the world, summer, fall, winter, spring, and each one of the seasons, I will learn a new skill or I will get better at a new skill. Then you can design your next year. What am I going to learn next? For example, this quarter of my life, I learn more about sales. Next quarter, I'm going to learn more about coaching. And it's a whole mindset training that I'm learning to become a coach into that. So it's a whole other thing. But every quarter, if you design it to learn a new skill or to get better at a new skill, even though that might sound a little bit, well, in a quarter, I can learn much more than a skill. In the end of the day, if you ask yourself, how many skills did I learn this past year? Because it was probably not designed that way. You learn a little bit of this and you learn a little bit of that, but you are lacking the structure to really optimize your path forward. When I think that really one skill a quarter is just an easy framework to remember to say, okay, this quarter, I'm going to focus on cooking. Doesn't matter what it is. Just deciding one thing, focusing on it during one quarter before moving to something different.
Instead of becoming a jack of all trades, master of none, right? It's like that's superficial. When you don't have that intention dialed in and you're not super focused, you can sometimes have a lot of knowledge, but doesn't really apply or not very good at it because you didn't focus, right? Got it. Okay, I'm taking notes here. I hope everyone is too. Okay, I love that. Now, before we close this out, Jeremy, if someone resonates with what you shared and wants to follow your work, where should they go?
They should go to my LinkedIn page or to my website. But my LinkedIn page, they are going to get lots of advice twice a day on how to move your career the CP way. And for me, that's really what matters the most. Go to my LinkedIn page, follow the way we are approaching how to change people's career. And if that resonates with you, just book a call and have a career strategy session that is complementary and see if accelerating your career that coming quarter is what is worth prioritizing.
Okay. There were a few things from this chat today that really stood out to me. And I'm going to point them out. Okay. I think the first one is like when you're so open about saying that you were one of the worst candidates out there, you found your way in. I think that is so powerful, especially coming from a coaching standpoint of, a coaching perspective, I would say. It's like being vulnerable, right? At the end of the day, it's like you're super vulnerable talking about your own experiences, your own hardships. And I think people resonate with that so much, right? And I think that attributes to your success. So that's one thing. I would say being so honest about the pricing, right? And now, can I charge that much? And testing and understanding and donating the first $5, starting as a side hustle. And you're like, this is actually helping people, and I love that, man. I love I would call it a diagnosis. You probably have a fancier name for the one you told me when you look at the cost to entry a market, right? Oh, it takes 10 years to be a physicist, or it takes X, Y, and Z numbers of years to do X, Y, and Z task, or if you want that type of job. So I think that diagnosis is super cool. The way you framed it, it's very interesting. It's like from a neutral standpoint of view. It's like, okay, you want to do that. First, we need to understand where you're coming from, who you are. You're part of the storytelling, right? It sounds like there's a lot of storytelling, which I love. So we want to understand who you are, what are your skills, and now we want to understand where you want to go. And where you want to go, you take a look at the market, like I said, a neutral perspective. It's like, okay, you want to do this. So here's the assessment. And this is the time that we'll take. And we're going to talk with the experts. So the person can actually, before they commit to a 5 to 10 year journey, they already have clarity on what's going to cost them. And I see a lot of people that are frustrated in their own jobs. Like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. I've been studying for the past 8 years and I don't feel ready. Yeah, because you should be talking to Career Propulsion guys. They're the ones going to give you some tips. Now, this is my long way of saying, Jeremy, that I really appreciate you taking the time and being open with us today. It was great having you on.
Thank you so much, Pedro. It was really fun to chat with you. So thank you so much.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.